Welcome back to my channel Limelight Leaks. Please share and subscribe and hit the bell icon for latest updates. I've been racing my entire life. My car hasn't ever been outrun by any other state other than the 405. Bring that to the 405. I will bust your Chuck Seitsinger. The controversial street racer and star of Street Outlaws has been sentenced to prison, effectively ending his reign on the drag racing scene. But what did he do to be sentenced, and how will this affect the racing world? Join us to find out inside the world of Street Outlaws. Although many cars are built for speed and people enjoy testing how fast they can go, every state has strict rules against dangerous acts like street racing. No state allows racing, doing burnouts, or spinning donuts on public roads. But even though all states agree these things are unsafe, the way each state explains the rules and the punishments can be quite different. In Oklahoma City, people are very proud of their underground street racers. They claim to have the fastest racers in the whole country, and they aren't shy about it. These brave drivers with their powerful cars race to earn a place on something called the list. This list is very important to them. It's a sign of pride and success that every driver wants to reach. Only 10 spots are available, and everyone fights hard to get their name on it. Whether a racer wants to break into the top 10 or move higher up the list, the desire to prove themselves never fades. The battles are intense, the rivalries are strong, and friendships are tested. Because in this world, speed and skill are all that count. Everyone knows the risks, but they chase the excitement anyway. Lawmakers don't want regular streets to turn into racetracks because it's very dangerous for drivers, other cars, and people walking nearby. So, every state makes laws to stop street racing. But it's not just racing they worry about. They also don't want people doing things like peeling out, spinning in circles, or driving too fast in crowded places. To stop these risky acts, many states have created special rules called exhibition of speed laws. Sometimes street racing has its own set of rules separate from these other unsafe actions, but in some places they are combined into one law. The exact details of these laws can be very different depending on where you live. Some states explain clearly what street racing means, while others just describe it in general. Even the names for these crimes change from place to place. When the light turns green. These races often happen without any planning. A quick glance or a rev of an engine can be enough for two drivers to silently agree to race. But racing on city streets is very dangerous because of traffic, people walking, and things you can't predict. The list in Oklahoma City is much more than just a ranking of fast cars. It's a tradition that has been passed down for many years. It's something the racers there are very proud of. Over time, this racing scene got attention from across the country. Racers from places like California, Texas, and Michigan started coming to Oklahoma City to challenge the best. The OKC drivers never back down from a challenge. They work day and night to make their cars faster, replace parts, and fine-tune every little detail to get an advantage. Even though they're fierce rivals when it comes to moving up the list, they come together as a team when outsiders arrive. They feel proud to show that Oklahoma City has the bravest and fastest racers around. Time and time again, they've traveled to other states to produce just how quick and fearless they really are. The danger is always there, but the dream of being number one on the list makes it all worth it. Street Outlaws gives viewers a look into this secret world of racing. It's important to understand that while the show features street races, these races are all approved and organized when the cameras are rolling. The team behind the show makes sure each race gets permission from local officials in the cities they visit. The streets are blocked off, so no one else can drive through while the races happen. Police officers are usually nearby too, keeping everything safe. Even though it might seem like these races break the law, the truth is the opposite. Before any race begins, the team applies for permits. Sometimes the permits are denied, but when they're approved, everything moves forward with the city's permission. Streets are closed to the public, and law enforcement is there to watch over the event and make sure everything goes smoothly. This way, the racers can enjoy their thrilling competitions without putting others in harm's way. What makes Street Outlaws so exciting is how real it feels. The racers aren't actors or stunt drivers. The rivalries, surprises, and close finishes are all genuine. Every driver has a deep love for racing and dreams of being at the top of the list. No time before hitting the streets. He loved pushing the limits of his car and feeling the rush that came with it. It didn't take long for people to notice his courage and bold spirit, and soon Chuck earned a strong reputation as one of the most fearless and determined racers around. But Chuck wasn't just someone chasing thrills on the streets. He also worked hard to follow his passion for racing on official tracks. In 2004, Chuck reached a big milestone in his career. That year, the NOPI Drag Racing Association named him Rookie of the Year, a huge honor in the racing world, and in the very same year, he won the Nitrous Express P4 Xbox Cup Championship in the four-cylinder category. These early victories proved that Chuck was born for this, with a heart made for speed, a hunger for victory, and a fearless attitude in every competition. In Oklahoma City, Chuck made an even bigger name for himself by racing his famous small-tire car, a 1989 Ford Fox-body Mustang called Death Trap. What began as an ordinary car became something incredible because of Chuck's hard work, passion, and determination. He transformed it by adding a Chevy engine and a turbocharger, turning the Mustang into one of the toughest and fastest cars in the country street racing scene. The name Death Trap was perfect for it. Wild, powerful, and always pushing the edge of danger. Chuck's love for cars wasn't just about driving them fast. He also opened a repair shop called Advanced Motorsports, where he could work on cars for fun and help other people too. His skill as a car mechanic earned him plenty of respect, and his shop became a favorite place for car lovers who needed help with their vehicles. Chuck's commitment to cars and racing went even further when he started his own company, Chuck Seitsinger Racing. Before joining the TV show Street Outlaws, Chuck spent time working on several projects. One of them was trying to turn his Death Trap Mustang into something extraordinary. In the beginning, he faced a lot of problems with the car. Things didn't go smoothly, and he even thought about giving up. Alongside racing, Chuck also tried his hand at other businesses, like importing and reselling goods. But those ventures didn't bring him the kind of success he was hoping for. Chuck's life took a major turn when he was invited to be part of Street Outlaws, a popular television show about illegal street racing in America. This was a huge opportunity for him. Not only did it improve his financial situation, but it also helped him become well known in the racing smooth. He was married for many years, and he and his wife had 3 beautiful daughters. His oldest daughter, Chelsea Swankinger, chose a different path from her father and went on to study veterinary medicine at the University of Oklahoma. Chuck loved his family deeply and often shared happy moments and photos with them, enjoying the time spent together away from racing. However, behind the happy pictures, problems were building. Chuck's marriage eventually fell apart and the separation was far from peaceful. The media reported troubling stories from their home, and there were serious claims of mistreatment. Things became so difficult that his wife's family stepped in, leading to court battles over the custody of their children. This was a public time in Chuck's life. After the divorce, Chuck found love again. In July 2018, he began dating Elisa Noel, a woman who shared his passion for racing and cars, especially Mustangs. Their shared interest brought them close, and they bonded over their love for everything connected to racing. Elisa wasn't new to the car world. She had worked in the aftermarket performance business as a designer. Along with her love for cars, Elisa also had a passion for media design and writing. This creative energy led her to start her own company, Urban Heart, a design business based in Monroe, Louisiana. Elisa had 2 daughters of her own, and together she and Chuck built a blended family filled with love, racing, and mutual support. The two seemed like a perfect match. They both chased their dreams, supported each other, and created a life where family and fast cars could live side by side. Chuck looked happier, as shown by his cheerful social media posts, where he shared racing moments and family memories. Chuck's journey has been a mixture of great victories and difficult setbacks, of moments when life sped ahead and times when it slowed to a stop. While he reached many career highlights, he also faced personal troubles that tested his strength. His life has been like one long, winding race, full of ups, downs, mistakes, and chances to start over. Through everything, Chuck stayed true to his love for racing and the excitement it brought him. His story is a reminder that even those who seem strong on the outside can face struggles inside. Chuck's professional life shows that hard work and determination can open new doors, even when things seem in his way. Chuck keeps moving forward one race at a time. So, what crime did he commit that took him away from what he loves, racing? Stick with us to find out. Chuck's toughest fight, the price he paid. During the warm months of 2020, Chuck Seisinger's life changed in a sudden and painful way. Known for his love of racing, fast cars and fearless attitude on Street Outlaws, Chuck found himself facing a serious and frightening fight with COVID-19. This wasn't a mild sickness for him. His condition quickly got worse, and he had to be rushed to the hospital. Soon after, doctors placed him in the intensive care unit, where he struggled to breathe and fought to stay alive. At the time, Chuck's children were visiting him for the summer. As a loving father, having his kids close meant everything to him. But as his health continued to decline, he had no choice but to send them back to their mother. He was simply too weak to care for them while lying in a hospital bed, battling for his life. Even as he fought to recover, Chuck received upsetting phone calls from his children. They told him about problems they were having at their mother's house. These calls deeply upset Chuck, who felt trapped and powerless in his hospital room. He wanted to help, but couldn't be there in person. The weight of worry and fear pressed down on him, leaving him restless and anxious. Feeling overwhelmed and desperate to protect his children, Chuck let his emotions take control. In a moment of frustration and fear, he made a phone call that would soon turn his life upside down. What started as a father's emotional outburst quickly turned into a serious legal issue. Blackmail led to accusations that Chuck had made a violent threat and harassing remarks. In August 2020, not long after his illness, Chuck's troubles grew even heavier. He was officially charged with making a violent threat and placing a threatening and harassing phone call. What began as a private family matter soon became a public legal problem, adding even more stress to an already painful time in his life. At first, it looked like there might be a chance for a lighter outcome. Chuck agreed to enter a no-contest plea, hoping for a lesser sentence and the opportunity to move on with his life. But things didn't go as he had hoped. The judge handling the case believed a stronger message needed to be sent. Instead of a more forgiving decision, Chuck was sentenced to 60 days in jail and 1 year of probation. Along with jail time, Chuck was ordered to complete a 13-week anger management course. He also had to pay for all the court costs connected to his case. This was a tough moment for Chuck. He later admitted that while he acted out of love for his children, the way he handled the situation was not right. Chuck began his sentence by spending 25 days inside the Oklahoma County Jail. For a man used to the thrill of racing down open roads, those days in a small locked room were difficult. It was a humbling and emotional experience. The time behind bars gave Chuck many quiet moments to think about his choices, the mistakes he had made. Seitsinger finally released from prison. In April 2022, after going through a tough and painful chapter in his life, was eager to return to the one thing that made him feel alive, racing. For Chuck, racing wasn't just a way to pass time. It was a deep part of who he was. The speed, the roar of the engines, and the challenge of the track gave him purpose and filled his heart with excitement. The moment he stepped out of jail, his biggest goal was to prove to himself and to everyone else that he still belonged on the track. Right away, Chuck turned to social media to share his excitement about racing again. He wanted to reconnect with his loyal fans and let them know he was ready to move forward. He spoke about his happiness to leave the past behind and the lessons he had learned. Chuck admitted that while his actions had come from love and a desire to protect, he needed to handle things differently in the future. He promised to grow from his mistakes and focus on what truly mattered. His followers admired him for his honesty. They had seen Chuck's highs and lows, from winning races to facing personal struggles. But through it all, one thing about him never changed: his brave heart. People respected Chuck because he never pretended to be perfect. He was real about his faults and about the fact that life can knock you down sometimes. Seeing him admit his wrongs, accept the consequences, and work to rebuild his life only made his fans love him more. When April 2022 came, Chuck was finally a free man and wasted no time getting back to his greatest passion. His famous small tire car, Death Trap, was waiting for him. The racetrack, with its endless stretch of road and the thick smell of burning rubber, called out to him like an old friend. Chuck knew it wouldn't be easy. While he had been away, his fellow racers had been testing, tuning, and getting their cars in top shape. Chuck was behind in both time and preparation, but instead of being discouraged, it lit a fire inside him to push even harder. Chuck's first step was to reunite with his racing crew. These were the people who believed in him when times were tough and who understood his skills better than anyone. Together they rolled up their sleeves and went to work on Death Trap. Every bolt, every wire, every adjustment mattered. The team worked side by side, determined to get the car ready for the No Prep King series. But Chuck didn't stop there. He introduced a brand new car to the racing world, one he named the Second Amendment. This wasn't just a name for Chuck. It stood for a fresh start and a chance to redeem himself. With a powerful twin-turbo 41X engine, this new car quickly grabbed attention at racing events. While it wasn't the fastest car on the track just yet, it earned a reputation for reliability. In racing, sometimes it isn't the car with the highest speed that wins, but the one that consistently finishes every race. Still, the Second Amendment wasn't without its own difficulties. As a Fox-body Mustang with a short wheelbase, it was tricky to keep under control at high speeds. It took patience, skill, and a lot of trial and error to keep it steady. But Chuck, being the experienced driver he was, stayed calm. He had faced bigger challenges before. Race by race, he learned more about how the car handled and slowly brought it to a point where it felt just right. Even with those improvements, Chuck wasn't satisfied. To truly compete with the top racers in the No King series, he knew he needed a more powerful setup. So he started thinking about upgrading from the twin-turbo 41X to something even better. He considered switching to a screw-blown Hemi engine or a Pro-Charger system. These were the kinds of engines used by the top names in the racing world, and Chuck wanted to be one of them. But making a change like that comes with a heavy price tag. A good Hemi engine alone could cost over $100,000. Adding a screw blower or a Pro-Charger would make it even more expensive. Even finding used parts would be costly. Chuck, always open and honest, didn't hide these challenges. He spoke clearly about the financial struggles, the long hours, and the hard work it would take to make these changes. But his spirit stayed strong and his confidence, making bold moves and proving that he could still leave his competitors in the dust.